Yes, I took a trip to the hospital. Yes, I was recording. And yes, I am now stuck in Croatia for the next 3 weeks. Although, let's be honest, this is a beautiful country. There are much worse places that you could be stuck. Now, before I get into all of the details of what happened, I just want to give a kind of disclaimer, I suppose. All of this is entirely my fault. I take total responsibility for my own actions. I don't expect any pity or any sympathy from anyone. And you are absolutely allowed to laugh at me as we go through this story because I'm an idiot. So what happened? Well, I met a few Croatian guys, local guys, and I was just talking to them about how much I like abandoned places, you know, lost things, places that people don't usually go. And they gave me a good recommendation. They said, up in the hills, north of Plitvice Lakes, there's one of Tito's old houses, and it's completely abandoned, and you should go and check it out. And I thought, yeah, why not? That sounds like fun. And at the start, it was fun. It was going pretty well. Wow, this place is awesome. This is so cool. Look at this. Look at this building. It's beautiful as well. Obviously, the roof is collapsing and all of that. There's some kind of balcony here. But what a stunning building, the way it sort of curves around. Man, I love this. Let's get inside and have a proper look. Free candy. F Nazis, free all Antifas. Doesn't matter where you go, you cannot get away from Antifa. That's crazy. Got to be a little bit careful what you step on. You know, I've been in loads of buildings like this, falling apart. You are kind of taking a bit of a chance. It is what it is. Well, that is a long way down. I'm not the most sensible fella. Sometimes I do silly things. This is it. This is that projector room. This is like an old billiards table. All the old felt. Ooh. Not nice. Now, clearly that is a fascinating place to go and explore all by itself, but that's not quite the reason that I went there. I went there because the Croatian guys that recommended it also told me that there were tunnels, specifically an escape tunnel, such that if Tito were in the building and it was attacked, he could make a quick getaway through the mountains. And that sounded a little bit too good for me to pass up on. So after I was done exploring the upstairs area and the grounds outside, I went into the basement and found the tunnels. But once I got there, I wasn't by myself. That might be it. What's this? Ah, yes. Here we go. Ooh, it's a tiny little hole, that. Look at that, that's small, isn't it? That's got to be a tunnel, right? Surely. Sketchy. How do I get down there without putting the camera down? Oh my God, there's a lot of bats in here. Oh boy. Oh, I do not like that. Do not like that one bit. Are they going to bite me? Lots and lots of bats. You can see the ones that were flying in front of me, but there were also ones behind me. Something I did had kind of woken a few of them up, and then all of a sudden there were just wings fluttering all around me. One of them actually hit me on the shoulder, on the back left of my shoulder, or at least I think it did, but I'm not 100% confident because I was pumped full of adrenaline with like a heart rate in the 140s by this point. But yeah, it wasn't the most comfortable experience. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I get out the tunnel, and I wouldn't say I was freaking out, but I was definitely a little bit concerned. So I did the first thing that anyone does, go on Google and try and become a doctor and all of the things that can go wrong when you have contact with bats. Now, Croatia, just like the UK, is rabies free for like household animals like dogs because they've all been vaccinated. But pretty much anywhere in the world, including the UK, if you get exposed, really if you get bitten or scratched by a bat, you should go and see a doctor and they'll give you a series of rabies shots. Before I did that though, and this is a bit of a gripe with the NHS, I wasn't very happy with this. I called my GP and I gave them my NHS number, I gave them my date of birth and my full name, so they knew it was me. And I just said, I've had a lot of vaccinations when I was in the army. I'm not sure if I've ever had the rabies vaccine, but I've just been, exposed to a lot of bats in a different country. Could you please tell me if I've had the rabies vaccine? And the answer I got back was, no, we can't tell you over the phone because you're out of the country. And I was just thinking, that is absolutely insane. I'm sat here telling you that there is obviously a very small, but there is a realistic non-zero possibility that I could have just contracted rabies, a disease which is basically 100% fatal. And you are telling me, no, procedure won't allow me to tell you whether or not you're vaccinated against that because you're out of the country. And that is completely insane. That's a big gripe that I have with the NHS. And when I get back to the UK, I'm not going to name them, of course I'm not, but I'm going to go to my GP surgery. I'm going to try and do a bit of research about whether that's actually true or not, because when people are overseas, they're especially vulnerable, right? Particularly in silly circumstances like this, when people like me go into tunnels that they shouldn't go into, find themselves in a world of pain, and all they want to know is, am I vaccinated against this? Getting back to the story, I went to the closest hospital that I could, which was really only like a 25-minute drive away. And there was a doctor there, lovely doctor-ish. She spoke English. She was lovely, maybe. And I just said, look, could I have been exposed to rabies? And she mocked me and she said, oh, if you're worried about rabies, why don't you go to the vets? And I was like, okay, well, if you're not taking it seriously, then I guess it's not that serious. And I turned and I was walking out of the hospital. And then she was like, you know what, actually, here's the address of the place you should go. And she gave me the address for like a public health facility. She was like, we don't have rabies shots here, but if you're concerned, you should go here. And I think she was just sort of covering her own back. So I did go there. They were closed, but they told me to come back the next day, very first thing in the morning, 7 a.m, because they were going to vaccinate me. And that's basically what happened this morning. There was a guy there named Nikola, as in Nikola Tesla. Very, very friendly guy, helped me out a lot. And then there was sort of, I couldn't really tell who's a nurse and a doctor, but there was two women and a man, and they sort of inspected my whole body. And they were asking me, like, did it lick your eyeballs? And I was like, well, I didn't know. I didn't get my eyeballs licked. If I did, that would be very weird. And they were like, look, we're going to give you the shots. There hasn't been a case of rabies in Croatia for a long time, but when you have contact with bats, it's actually rather a lot more serious. In fact, most cases of rabies in the Western world nowadays are not dogs, because all the dogs are vaccinated, it's bats. So that's why it is kind of serious. And if you get their saliva in your nose or in your eyes, very, very bad. Now look, I'm glad that they made the decision that they did, because the odds of me having rabies, just from a couple of them flying around me, bumping into my shoulder, whatever, are really, really small. But rabies is brutal. By the time you get a single symptom of rabies, that is it. It's over. You're dead. There's no coming back from it. So rabies is really, really serious. And it can take like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 12 weeks, a year, 5 years to incubate. So for the next 5 years, every time I get a headache, I'm going to be thinking, right, that's it. My number's up. This is the Croatian rabies that I caught. That's really horrible use of terminology, because every country with bats in it has a potential risk of rabies. So it's not like Croatia's unsafe. That's not what I'm saying. So I'm glad that they made that decision, because it kind of gave me a bit of peace of mind, I suppose, that if I get sick in the future, I'm not instantly going to be thinking, ooh, rabies. However, you don't just get one shot. I mean, I got 2 shots whilst I was there, one in each arm. I could show you, but I won't, because what's the point? I then have to go back in 7 days' time to get another shot, or I can go to a different public health facility, but then I'd have to find it, and I don't speak Croatian. Maybe someone can help me. And then I have to go for a 4th shot in 21 days. So I could leave the country. What I could do is get a shot in Croatia in 7 days, leave the country, go to Bosnia, and then come back to Croatia in 21 days and get another shot. That is a very real possibility. I could do that. Maybe that would make sense, because I don't really want to extend my trip for 21 days. I kind of miss the dog. I miss Annie. It's kind of funny that I'm potentially more likely to get rabies than she is. Anyway, so what exactly is the moral of the story here? Am I going to tell you not to go into tunnels full of bats? No, I'm not going to tell you that. In fact, I don't really like telling anyone what to do for the most part, which is funny because I was an officer in the army. But what I would say is if you're going to go and do silly things like I do sometimes, probably better to get the rabies vaccine before you go, because otherwise if you become exposed to the virus, you might need 4 jabs on the other side. And if you don't get those 4 jabs, you might get rabies. And if you get rabies, you will die. There's like, out of the millions of people that rabies has killed, 20 or something have survived. Anyway, feel free to watch this video multiple times so that I get lots of additional AdSense revenue, which will help me pay for my additional 21 days in Croatia. I'm near to Zadar, by the way. I think it's somewhere over there. A lot of you were recommending I go to Zadar. I wasn't going to. I now am, because I might as well. I think I'll go to Pag Island, and I'll probably go to Dubrovnik as well. So hopefully we'll get to see some more of Croatia, which is kind of the good side of all of this. Yeah, please do leave a like, comment, subscribe. Hope you got a laugh out of this. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm an idiot. This is entirely my doing. And I'll see you in a future video.